I had wonderful graphics to show you the logic of the mutation. If it wasn't for the logic, I would have never dedicated 23 years of my life to the human design system. Because life, my life, has always been chaotic. It still is. Now, I also understand there is some order. There is an order underneath my chaos. The order of my chaos is that I'm a triple split emotional ego manifester. That's the logic. That's how I understand why my life is the way it is. And why I can still bring a good show even if the projector doesn't work. At least I'm going to try and have some fun. It's best I can do for you. So, the mutation. I thought, see, I never made a lecture about this, a public lecture. And you know why? Because it's fishy. It's not black and white. There is a lot of it that is just science fiction. But for me, human design is something I can touch. I can feel. I can feel the difference between touching one person and touching another person. There is so much objective truth in human design. I was never interested in the voice because I could never speak to the voice. I'm a 1-3. I need a solid foundation. And the only foundation that I can trust is my own experience. So I found in human design the logic of my chaos. I understand my chaos now. I can see its beauty, its mythology. It does not mean it stopped hurting. It does not mean I'm always happy. It does not mean life is always nice. It just means I understand now. No choice. I don't need to excuse it. I don't need to justify it. I breathe it every moment. So if it wasn't for that logic, I would not be sitting here in front of you telling you about the mutation of 2027. But I was invited to do that, and I thought, why not? So in looking at how I want to do this, I decided to divide this in two parts. The first part is going to be, well, you could say the science fiction part. I'm not a fan of science fiction. But in this case, because I understand the science so deeply, the fiction is interesting. Because it follows the same logic. So if you follow the logic, it's like, wow, really? And see, I'm an emotional manifester. I know the solar plexus is a roller coaster. I know, oh, I know. To imagine that for 5 minutes, my solar plexus could be just receptive. To feel everything and not need to analyze it. Wow! I cannot imagine not analyzing my feelings. See, when we say patience, sounds nice. But when I'm patient, I'm thinking about what I'm feeling. It's not a choice. If I'm angry, I'm thinking angry. I'm always thinking what I feel. But I can imagine, I meditated. I know spaces of quiet and peace, half full, half empty. I know those moments. But the thing is, if I was in that space, I could not do this lecture. This is beyond the mind. See, when I met human design, I realized one thing, how primitive language is. Very primitive. And the way we use it, it's even more primitive. How many people do you know that know how to express their feelings, for instance? Put them in words. We call them poets. See, emotionally, we are a primitive species.